Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani and I welcome you on this daily Hindu announced video in the morning. These videos come in the evening. The MCQ lessons they come. You need to follow these lessons very religiously because the questions will be framed from these editorials only. The context is important and you will have to make your own original points always because you should never copy any other person's points or comments because questions will be very unique and individualistic. They will be checking your ability, so the ability must be there, and the ability will come when the maximum clarity, maximum understanding, maximum maturity is there inside you. So you will have to make your own original points, and that is why the main responsibility of mine here is to give you the detailed understanding of the topic. So 7th of October it is, and these paid courses are extremely important. Yesterday I explained to you this issue, and 159 rupees per month is nothing in the comparison to that level of knowledge. Videos and Gaurav, Prashant, Mahipal sir's videos are extremely important for the exam point of view, and now they are more detailed, more explained, and better concentrated towards these exams. So there is no problem in joining these paid courses, and you see making some paid courses there on the platform is actually very necessary for the finances of the StudyIQ platform also. So that's why it's important. Pocket News app is trending on Google Play. You can download that. Regarding these courses, the descriptions are given below the video. You can call on these numbers, and the chat section is given here, and the PDF you will get here on this group, and the Telegram channel you will find there. You can follow me on Instagram too. And first issue is regarding the Arctic Ocean. Arctic Ocean has become the hotbed for all the researchers, and the climate change important consequences we are observing on in Arctic Ocean region. It is an ocean because there is no land beneath that those glaciers and that ice surface. Antarctica is certainly a continent because there is land under all those glaciers, but here there is no land, and it's an ocean, it's a frozen ocean, but it is melting with a very fast pace. Within last 30 to 40 years we have lost around 12 to 15% of the ice of it. So very soon it may disappear if the climate change will continue. So that's why a lot of researchers are going on, and understanding the complex climate process of it, it's very important. So the important mission, or you may say important expedition there. So this is called Mosaic, Multidisciplinary Drifting Observatory for the study of Arctic climate. So the main aim is Arctic climate, and this issue is mentioned in the Hindu newspaper because Vishnu Nandan is going to be a part of it, and only Indian in this issue. And you see, if we talk about it, then important icebreakers will be used. You see the map here of Arctic Ocean. 120 degree east this longitude is, and this is 0 degree, means below this 0 degree this is North Pole. And if we go below it, then we will find UK there because it is 0 degree longitude, and it is 120 degrees, so means it's Russia. So from here it will start, and it will go through the center, and it will reach here. It is 1 year expedition, October 19 to October 20. So that's the issue. So they may ask you about this Mosaic mission. Many times UPSC has asked questions from Arctic issue. Marcus Rex will be the climate researchers there. 19 countries, 60 institutions, and 300 scientists and experts will be involved in it. And important icebreakers like the Pole Stern, okay, which was mentioned a few days back, Germany's Pole Stern, and AWI, the institute from Germany, Alfred Wegener Institute, that is managing it. And other important expedition ships are also involved from Sweden, from China, from Russia. So this is important. Next issue, India starts sharing maritime data. Maritime security is extremely important issue, especially in the Indian Ocean region, and we have been focusing a lot on Indian Ocean region. We have started important Indo-Pacific wing in External Affairs Ministry. The Quad group we are taking very seriously. Okay, Quad, the India, Japan, Australia, USA, we always talk about that. So that is the region of Indian Ocean to focus on. And we all know 75% of maritime trade and 50% of daily global oil consumption, that is happening through this region. So that's why we need to protect that, and for that information sharing is the basis of all the security. So last year Information Fusion Center was established. It was launched in Gurugram. Indian Navy and Indian Coast Guard, they are managing that, and we will coordinate with many other major centers. So VRMTC, MS, CHOA, many from Eastern African region, and the recap for the armed robbery and combating piracy, and IMB, PRC. These all institutions we will be collaborating with. So that's really very important. So IFC, IOR, they may ask you about that. Indian Navy and Coast Guard, they are managing that. Now we will come to the articles. Important articles, very important issue for GS paper 1, 2 and 4 also. They may ask you an important case study where some kind of a mass reaction is there on some so-called anti-national acts. Suppose some people have written some article, some people have written some letter, some book, and people are very much infuriated because their religious or any other sentiments are hurt, and they try to attack those people. So that kind of a situation, social situation, can be there in that question, and they may ask you that how you are going to tackle that. So these kind of issues are extremely important. Now the sedition issue, 49 writers across the streams, they had written about the lynching issue to Prime Minister of India. They requested about this issue, and they said that the steps that you are taking, these are not enough. Means it was a kind of a mild criticism also, and it was a kind of a complaint and a request too. So in no manner, leave about sedition, in no manner you cannot say it is even a criminal offense, and still a sedition law is invited. Means what's happening to this country, that is really, really serious, and there is no politics, there is no justification, there is no being biased about it. It is straightway a problem. Means what has gone wrong with us, that to these people who are cinematographers, who are writers, who are intellectuals, who are these important think tanks, and you are bringing sedition law to these people. 124A is the IPC's provision there. Sedition law means we need to look at this issue from the historical point of view. It was started in the 17th century in England, and then it came to India with Britishers. Even in 1860, when IPC was started, it was dropped, but later in 1870 they brought it, they inserted it, and first victim was Bal Gangadhar Tilak in 1897. And he, the person who was a very important personality, whom a lot of people follow in India today, all the people follow, but especially those people who are claiming to be Deshbhakt today, they follow him religiously. He said that the government has converted entire nation into a prison, and we are the prisoners of it, and it is all because of sedition law. And when this decision came to bring sedition law to these 49 people today, that was more symbolic, because it was brazenly brought on the day of Gandhi's birth and anniversary. On 2nd October, you are bringing sedition law to these people who are complaining about a very, very severe problem. Means nothing can be more severe than a mob lynching in a democracy. And symbolically, you are bringing sedition law to these people on this day, a day when a celebration of peace is going on. Whole world is knowing about this issue, and they know Gandhi is a peace icon. His philosophy is a peace icon, and systematically we are destroying that philosophy within our country. We know it is never happening without a political backing. There is certainly a backing. There is a whole campaign. There are all these important thinkers, so-called thinkers, who are propagating these ideas, and they are trying to destroy the Gandhi's image, the Gandhi's philosophical ways image in youth. Especially they are targeting 15 to 25 aged people, and they do not have that maturity. So certainly they are in the grip of that new thinking that Gandhi was not important and other people were important. Godse was important. Means what kind of contribution Godse had in our freedom struggle, nobody can explain that, but everyone can explain Gandhi's struggle. And it is not something that was happening in some parallel universe. It was all happening in front of our eyes. People were following Gandhi, masses were following Gandhi. They were not all they were not fools, because it had some substance. Nobody was following Godse at that time, and their ways were so cynical. And some people, even they pleaded before the Britishers, and they said that do not punish us, we will be with you politically, and we will be helpful in your motive. When Savarkar gave this application, then nowhere you can compare the Deshbhakti of that act with the Bhagat Singh's acceptance of that hanging, and with the smile. So one person is pleading before the Britishers to give him mercy, and one person is accepting the death laughingly, smilingly, and with all satisfaction. But Bhagat Singh, in his last years, he said that Gandhi's way is way more important and people must follow it. And here there are important views and these thinkings and these opinions and these explanations are being given to the people that Gandhi did not save Bhagat Singh and all these things. We do not know the veracity of these claims, because all these thinkers of the present time who are propagating these kind of controversial views, they are distorting history. They are talking about those people who are not alive. They are talking about those histories where no documentations are available. They are talking about those situations where nobody today they have seen those situations. So that's why it's very easy to talk about those situations, and in any manner. Who will give this this approval that these people are talking correct or not? They are talking about the mental condition of Nehru, Gandhi, Patel, and all these people. Who can verify these claims? Can we talk to Gandhi today? Can we talk to Patel today? Can we talk to any other personality today? But these people are talking about those people. Their all claims, their all Desh Bhakti is based on those distorted claims where no approval can be there, because to whom they are talking about, those people are not alive. So that is why it's a clear case of systematically destruction of these people in this country. Who is having this peace icon in this world? In this country, they put a gun on Gandhi's effigy, and those people are not inviting any sedition law, but these people are inviting sedition law. So that's why it's way more brazen and symbolic when they bring it on the Gandhi's birth anniversary. Seriously a concerning issue. If this do not, if this we do not understand, then we may lose a lot of things in this country, I tell you. And 124A, section 124A may be asked, and I gave you a question regarding that comment on 124A. So that was the issue. So in the history, Tilak reported it, and he openly said that it's clear case of restriction of free speech. So if it is being used till date, means we can see at that time it was a clear case of suppression. What we can expect here? At that time it was not the security of any country called India. It was the security of British government. That's why they brought sedition law, because all the provisions were based on that. And when we had it today, then Supreme Court said in its upholding of the constitutionality, Supreme Court said that if somebody criticizes government, if somebody is using vigorous words against the government, then it will not invite any sedition law. Openly Supreme Court said that. But today when somebody is criticizing the government and they are inviting sedition law, that's a clear case of misuse of this, where Supreme Court has clarified this issue that it is not a British time, and you cannot claim sedition law on the basis of criticism of the government. Government is not the country. Government is just a machinery to run the country. Government is not parallel to the country, first of all. So people have very smartly, with the help of media, social media, they have created this parallel, and they have actually make government a synonym of a country. Government is not a synonym of the country. Somebody criticizes governments, ask questions to the government, they are not anti-national people. That's a clear understanding of it. So that's why sedition law cannot be there for sure, and there is no justification in continuing this sedition law. Security situations can be managed with many other things. This is a very advanced age, this is a very advanced country, and we are all more capable. When we are not threatened by China, Pakistan, or any other country, then why we are threatened with these kind of simple questioning or a request letter? That's really shocking in this country. And that's why when we see at the examples, like in 1995, Supreme Court in Balwant Singh and State of Punjab case, they acquitted persons. What they did, they chanted some slogans that Khalistan Zindabad and Raj Karega Khalsa, and it was the time after the Indira Gandhi's assassination, and Khalsa movement was totally a separatist movement. They wanted a different country called Khalistan. So they must have invited sedition law, but even those people were acquitted. those people were not brought under the sedition law, because court said that it is not inviting any kind of violence there, and the response of the people is nothing to these kind of sloganeering. So that is why public response did not amount to sedition. It did not incite any kind of violence there. So how can you say that these are the deserving people for sedition law? It should not be applicable. These people, they must have some punishment and they must be behind the bars for some time. But sedition law is really drastic. It is something very, very huge. We cannot award it to these people. So even those people are acquitted, and today for a request letter against mob lynching, people are inviting sedition law. So what's happening in our country where our conscience is lost? This is really to be thought about, and that's why UPSC is asking questions about the biased media, about the issues of social situations, and the youth's opinion. Means youth are the target of these new thinkers, and because youth does not have that maturity to understand those issues, they cannot analyze those historical statements, and that subtle difference which is there in the principles and all. So they cannot differentiate with that, and they are easily provoked emotionally because they are filled with energies, and that is the clear exploitation of that energy by these new ideological class, which is totally confused. They do not have any constructive idea, and certainly they are bringing all these things just to derail the topics of discussions of crucial issues like agriculture crisis, economy, industry, the output, the GDP, the numbers, the RBI's claims. All these are not being discussed, but we discuss these issues every day. They bring these kind of emotional issues to discuss on prime time informations, and this is how they distort all these economy claims, growth claims, and these debates are not happening. Only these nonsensical debates are happening. Very similar issue is of NRC for the whole country. The National Registered for Citizens, in a very flawed manner, it ran in Assam situation, and still 1.9 million people are out of these claims of citizenship. What's going to happen, we do not know, but they have started talking about this issue, that we will replicate this issue to whole country. What is their aim? There is hardly any justification available that we need this process for whole country and in this same manner, and maybe we will need it, maybe we will execute it, but how? You are talking about religious grounds to apply this issue. Clearly you are leaving a particular community, Muslim community, out of this process. Means you do not consider them as proper citizens there. You do not want to give them rights. You do not want to give them that respect of a proper citizen there. That's clearly a case of religious divide, and clearly against the constitutional values and the religious aspects of this country. This country may create a havoc in this nation. There can be riots in every street of this country because you are inciting problems here on talking about religious parameters, and you are talking about a very dire exercise of NRC, and on the basis of religious background. This is really a shocking times for this country, and people may have political opinions, but the issues I'm talking about, these are really concerning, and there is no justification which is available political about these issues. These are the constitutional value issues, democratic value issues, and saving a country from these religious rights and these problems here. Saving the democratic values, saving the right expression there, saving the legitimate issues. Means you are complaining about mob lynching and you are attacked. Those people are not. Those people are garlanded. So that's why many people always say that these are political talkings. These are not political talkings, man. This is something very much crucial for the democracy. So that is why the writer, who himself is a judge, retired High Court judge, and a member of Law Commission, former Law Commission, who he is talking about these issues, and he says that unfortunately Indian courts, especially in recent times, repeatedly fail to appreciate this distinction. Which distinction? The distinction which will settle this issue, that who is actually wrong and who is not, who is national, who is anti-national, who should invite a sedition law and who should not. This request letter is a case of sedition or not. this distinction is lost, and more and more favor is being given to the government today, and it looks like the judiciary is working on the lines of becoming a committed judiciary, because these things are not very tough to understand. The way they are supporting the other side, and these sedition laws are being justified by the court. This is really, really concerning. And we have seen this issue in the JNU case, where there were no evidences available against that president person, Kanhaiya Kumar person, and till date they could not find those people who chanted those slogans that they're tukde honge and all these things. But the sedition law was invited for all these leaders. There may be ideological differences. This is a country of ideological difference. But what are the evidences there? Still the issue is not resolved. But the public sentiment was provoked in that sense, that these are the anti-national people. So this is the way where we may destroy this country totally, because the misinformation is there, social media miscampaigns are there, fake information is spread all over the world. There are misinformations about the important leaders in the history, and nonsensical leaders are being promoted as nationalists, and leaders like Gandhi, leaders like other important personalities, their role is being distorted, history is being distorted, and other leaders who their contribution is nowhere available for the freedom of this country, they are being held as heroes bigger than Gandhi and other leaders. So what we are doing with this nation, this is really concerning, and we have to think about this issue a lot, and the court's responsibility is really huge. And whatever court interprets, governments has to execute that. The way Supreme Court upheld this constitutionality, but it explained the issue that where it should be applicable, that thing should be followed by the authorities. Otherwise we will lose a lot. And that's why it is the time we challenge this law, and it must go. Arguably, it is the time for the people and for the civil society to challenge the law directly, that this law must go. There is no legal and constitutional justification available in favor of this law. No, nowhere you can justify that this law must remain. We are an advanced nation. We can tackle problems with any other way. But there is a clear misuses of this sedition law. So it must go. That is the issue. It was brought up by Britishers, and we are always opposing many things brought up by Britishers. But we are not opposing that, because it is supporting the authorities. So that's a clear case. So that's why it's a huge problem. And there is no argument in favor of the sedition law. And maybe it is there, but the use of this sedition law, there is no argument in favor of that. It's a clear case of misuse there. This time it is certainly some things are crossing the limits. Next article is talking about similar situation, the NRC exercise. Here the writer Gautam Bhatia, an important Delhi-based lawyer, says that the way Home Minister was talking about the replication of NRC in all the country, and purely on the religious grounds, he talks that I want to assure Hindu, Sikhs, Jain, Buddhist and Christian refugees, you will not be forced to leave India by the central government. Means he is leaving Muslims aside. That means Muslims can be forced to leave India by the center. That's a clear understanding from here, because this sentence says it all, clearly dropping the Muslims from this sentence. So writer said that his statement was not merely a communal visual. He was echoing the provisions of the Citizenship Amendment Bill. Means the Citizenship Amendment Bill, which they proposed, but it could not be passed because a lot of protests were there. So they could not bring it to the ground. But certainly the NRC issue is totally relatable with that. And explicitly communal basis for the first time is being used in this country. Categorically excludes Muslims from its ambit. So what do we mean by this? In this country, in this religious diverse country, what you are experimenting? If I talk about the history, I give you a very important point. Somebody would talk about the Sanskriti Sabhyata of this country, but it is all their perspective. I would say, if I start talking about a time 5,000 years back, there were no religions, there were no civilizations, there were no ways. Only in a very crude manner, the civilizations were moving. So can you talk that these people were Aryans, Hindus or Muslims or something like that? No, you cannot talk about that. So what kind of claim you are talking about? It is all the part of history. It doesn't matter who came from where. But after the starting of the constitution, the people who were here, these are the Indian citizens. So whom you're talking that they came from outside and they are not those people, they are not Muslims, they are not Hindus, they are not certain kind of people. What is this issue? This is all historical perspective, and historical perspectives, they do not have any range. So they are talking just that some people came from outside, from these people came from here and they attacked our religion, they attacked our religion. It is something that we have some religion from the starting of this universe. It is not like that. It is all a mythological situation, and we have evidences. Science tells us that all these things came 2,000-3,000 years back. If we talk about a time before that, then what we will say? Who is Indian or who is not? This is not a way. This is all a distortion of this constitutional values of this country. This is all a clear case of destroying this country. If we talk about these kind of issues, because it's a kind of a great mix-up of all the races. This country has invited people from all over the world, and all became Indians. Today they are loyal to this country. You cannot hail anybody that historically those people were different, and these are different. The kind of language that they talk, this is really shameful. And in a country who wants to become a superpower, and in this country the people talk in this kind of language, that they have affinity to some invader there, and those were the invaders. Whom you can say these are the invaders? You can never say about anybody, because in those ages people used to invade, people used to annex lands, people used to win. Means there were kings in this country who were invading some other's territory. About whom you can say? Everybody was an invader at that time. Everybody was cruel at that time. You cannot say that India was the most idealistic country in this world. There were kings, there were cruel kings also, and there were killings also. There were no constitution like today. So what you can say that who was invading, who was not? This is all the historical perspective, and that's why we started with the phase, and that started with the constitution and its values. And in this country of a constitution, the biggest constitution in this world, you talk about these religious backgrounds. This is really shameful, and the most shameful thing in this humanity. And that's why we have to brazenly talk about this issue openly. We should oppose these kind of religious discriminations. We have no right to incite these kind of religious communal bases. These are devastating for this country, and that is why many confusions they are living here, and Muslims and non-Muslims, they are dividing these categories. Jews and atheists, they are also they have become controversial in their statements. So in which way we want to proceed these things? Ahmadiyas in Pakistan, they are also experiencing a lot of pain, a lot of apartheid, a lot of suppression, but we are not talking about those people. We are only talking about the Hindus and other communities. That means we want to pose that this country belongs to Hindus, this country belongs to non-Muslims, and Muslims have no claim on this country. Indirectly we are talking about this issue. Indirectly we are talking in this language, and openly on public platform we are talking about these. But on the public platform we are dropping Muslim names from that list. So we are actually fixing this thing that this country does not belong to Muslims. How we can accept this thing? This is a clear destruction of this country, because we all are Indians today. Constitution has given us this right, and talking on these lines means you do not believe in constitution at all. You do not believe in constitutional values at all. That is the clear issue, and that is totally against the constitutional philosophy there. There is no confusion about that. It is as simple as that, and that's why gap between the stated objective and the actual text of the bill is wide enough that ship can sail through. Means there are clear gaps. That actual text of the bill is very problematic, and the gap between the stated objective, their sentences, and that text is really problematic, and that can make these things possible, that government can go through with their claims. Means the way they want to pose it, they want to talk on communal basis, they will execute this plan on this communal basis only. This is possible with this issue. So that is why it's a plain discrimination issue, and the language is really problematic there, and the way they are advertising it on the public platforms, this is really extremely problematic. Maybe tomorrow they will drop these things, but today they talk about it. Means today, where elections are also going on, today you provoked many of the people, and their thinking will start like this. Many suspicions will start like this, and they will see Muslims with a different eye. You are giving a destructive opinion, you are giving a destructive way of thinking to the people. That is really problematic. So the issue of Citizenship Amendment Bill, which they try to bring, but that is based on Article 15 and 14. Means some people are saying that Article 15 applies only to citizens of this country, and we are talking about giving citizenship to other people, so it will not be applicable. But what about the Article 14? They will become Indians according to you. So Article 14 guarantees this equality. How you can bring discriminatory treatment to some people and you bring a different treatment to some other people? So this issue of replicating NRC, this will dramatically seek to alter the basis of citizenship in India, and for the first time there is an ethnicity basis, and the basis of citizenship is being changed here. And on these destructive grounds, only natural way to get the citizenship of this country was here, that that basis was just solely means citizenship by birth, or you become a natural citizen by living here for 12 years. But that that particular parameter is being lowered to 6 years now. Means for 6 years, if you are living in India, then you become the citizen there. That means the people who will be coming from Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan, and those are non-Muslims, then within 6 years they will become the Indian citizen there. So you are actually actually giving a smooth passage of non-Muslims to become Indian citizens, and you are creating problems for Muslims there. So that's really a problematic situation, and the issue is that you want to implement that, you want to execute that. Legal issues are there, constitutional issues are there, but you are advertising it with the normal people. This is really devastating, and a nationwide NRC will replicate the flaws of the Assam NRC on much larger scale. So we have to be very much concerned about that, and clear, peaceful debates are necessary for that. The way they went through this NRC exercise, and even the Supreme Court put pressure on that Assam exercise, even that became problematic, and it had a historical basis, the 1971 war, and it's a frontier state. But you want to replicate that in whole country, that can be devastating, even if it is replicated in the similar manner of Assam. So that is why we need to talk about that. And next article is talking about the road to economic revival. We need economic revival for sure. RBI has sharply cut the GDP growth forecast from 6.9 to 6.1%. So this is really concerning. From 6.1 straight to 6.1. This is really a sharp decline there. Even we have seen changes in the IMF conditions and IMF forecast and other forecasts, but those are never more than 0.5% in one time, but it is straight 0.8% decline. So clear challenges are there. Conventional approaches like changing the repo rate, changing the tax rate systems and all, these will give immediate relief, but not long-term solutions. These will not endure there. For sure, we need clear reforms there. So the primary sector is the basis there. Primary sector means agriculture, mining. These are the primary sectors. We are getting something straight from the earth, and these are the raw materials important in primary sector. And the secondary sector of industries and manufacturing, that is totally dependent on the raw material of the primary sector. So this sector needs to be improved, and this sector is hit the most. The biggest crisis is going on with the primary sector. Real agricultural growth, even the allied gross value added is also included in that. That is growing by 2.9% in last 7 to 8 years, and it must have gone more than 4%. And according to the political claims, these should have been more than 4%. But anyhow, the minimum number, the 4%, we are not able to carry there, and it has gone less than 2% many of the times in these years. So overall economic growth, we need more than 8% to fulfill that dream of $5 trillion economy, and at least 4% agriculture growth is needed. And this 4% will never double the income of farmer, and that will never give a proper life standard to the farmer, but at least it will manage its life. It will not be bound to commit suicide there. So that is the minimum number of 4%, but we are not able to grow here by 4%. And agriculture, more than 50% people are employed in this sector, and maximum employment rate is given, and it is not growing at least for 4%. It is growing around 2%, 2.5%, 2.8%. This is the growth number. So what we can expect here? Some reforms he is suggesting here, key reforms. First, this sector has potential to revive this animal spirits. Why? Because it is a basic sector. It gives support to all other sectors. So we need to accept the role of agriculture in invigorating the crucial economic segment, and whatever reforms will be there, that will start from agricultural reforms. We had discussed this issue in one more article, and the same thing is given here. Here, if we see the agriculture census 1516, the numbers, the income of the farmer doubled in 20 years from 1993 to 1516. So it took 20 years, and today we are in a dire need to improve the condition there, because we have made a target of 2022 and doubling incomes for farmers' income. But from where we will double it? Where is that standard? Here there is a clear decline in the progress of the farmer there. There is no progress. There is actually a decline in their survivable capability. So we will double the income, but from where? Suppose it was the income of 100 rupees per month, but it is declining. It is becoming 50. So after 3 years, if you make it 100 again, you will claim that we have doubled this amount. We have doubled this income. But from where? So that's a real problem. So that is why Agriculture Development Council is something that we need today, like GST. We are in a dire need of this ADC, so that all these things can be systematic. These reforms can be systematic. And if we want really India 2.0 phase, so the most important thing that we need is to revisit regional crop planning and agroclimatic zone models of the agriculture. These two things can save us, because erratic monsoons, flooding, drought, these are the conditions, and the rivers are not interlinked totally. So the problem of irrigation is huge. So that is why we need agroclimatic zones models, based cropping patterns. Okay, so there is an immense need to promote occupations which are less influenced by the slowdown, such as farming, handloom, handicrafts. Means there may be a slowdown, but these are the primary sector, raw material related sectors, farming, handloom, handicrafts. They will go on, and they will be not much affected by the recession phase, because simple manual labors are involved there, and these are not related to big market conditions and all. So that's why we need to promote these things, so that if there is a economic slowdown, if there is a recession in the future, so these poor people in the countryside, they are not affected much. So this we need to bring, and this will support the agricultural condition there. This will support the income condition of farmers there. That's why ultimate need is there. Next, urgent need to increase the job to investment ratio. We expect demographic dividend. These youth, they will need jobs there. Otherwise, this country will be destroyed by these huge number of youths, because they will be filled with negative energies. If they do not have skill, if they do not have jobs, then what they will do? They will do these mob lynchings, nothing else. So that's why we need to bring them jobs. We need to bring them right ways of the life. We need to bring them skills. We need to bring them right direction of the life. For that, we need to increase the job to investment ratio there, and that is really going as a huge problem. We are not able to give permanent employment. Recently, important information came when in the university notification, they said that only guest faculties we will be allowing. No permanent post is there. What kind of notification is there? Already for last 7 to 8 years, there are no permanent vacancies in most of the universities. What does that mean? It means that we do not want quality education in the universities there, because the guest faculties will be not giving quality education is there. So if this is happening in these most crucial sectors, what we can expect? So that's why we need to increase this job to investment ratio. According to estimate, 1 crore rupee investment brings 4 formal jobs. So we need to invest a lot there. And a policy nudge is required to give in situ employment. Suppose employment for a person living in Rajasthan is there in Chennai. What that person will earn, what additional income it can give there to the people, how it can raise its standard of the life. So the in situ employment creation is necessary. Means a person who is working hard in Bihar, the employment should be there in Bihar only, so that it can save and it can support the life and it can change its life standard there. Otherwise it is all lost in the struggle. That's why in situ employment is needed, and we need to reconsider some few distorting reforms which we have brought there. So that is why we need to think in a visionary form, and far-sighted we need to become. And the sweet spot created by the low oil prices will not be there anymore, because the prices will rise for sure. Struggles are rising, and Saudi Arab has given all the warnings regarding that. So it will certainly rise, and it will bring conditions tougher. And these important advantages which were there for the last 4-5 years, these will not be there. Means the inflation will rise, the expenditure will rise, means the challenges will rise. So we need to be very, very much alert, and we have to bring these reforms. Otherwise we cannot improve this condition, and that will go on, and we will have a serious food crisis in this country within 10 years, because nobody will be ready to do agriculture there. They will do anything, but they will not do agriculture there. And we need to support their lives and their agriculture and the farming sector there. Otherwise things will be lost for sure. So this is all for today. We'll meet again tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit Sani.